Well, good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us online this evening for Art and Soul Virtual. My name is Ashley Shuyler Carter, and I'm the founder and a current board member of AfricAid. While we so wish we could be celebrating with you in person tonight, we're just so grateful that we're able to connect remotely to celebrate and support the incredible work that each of you makes possible in Tanzania. So tonight will certainly be a big experiment for all of us here at AfricAid. Thank you for giving this virtual format a try with us. And we'll plan to roll with any punches that the technology throws our way along the way. But assuming our internet connections cooperate, here's a quick overview of what you can expect this evening. In just a moment, our co-managing directors in Tanzania, Monica Swai and Devotha will share an update about what's happening on the ground right now in Tanzania and how your support tonight will benefit our scholars during this very difficult time. Following their remarks will be a live interview between longtime AfricAid supporter and this evening's honoree, Curt Harris, and KISA project manager, Hadija Hassan, who will be joining us from Arusha, Tanzania. The two of them have been friends since they summited Mount Kilimanjaro together in 2016. Then our auctioneer Rahim will kick off our live giving drive. Our goal this evening is to raise $40,000 for Tanzanian girls. Rahim will also give a brief overview of the online auction that will open toward the end of the event and close this coming Tuesday, April 21st at 9 p.m. So without further ado, please join me in welcoming Monica and Devotha.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Devotha.
Greetings from
Hello.
Tanzania. I'm Devotha Mlai, and I'm the Managing Director of Programs. You might remember me from Art and Soul in 2017, for those who were there. AfricAid has been supporting high school aged girls since 2001 and has been focusing on mentoring girls in school since 2010 when we launched our KISA project. And KISA project is a 2 years leadership course that focuses more on preparing high school girls who are in their last 2 years of high school to join university, and most of all, to become positive change makers in their communities. So KISA means story in Kiswahili, and through the KISA project, our girls are empowered to become the creative authors of their own stories. And I would like to say thank you so much for being here with us, and I'm so excited that you could join us. As I was saying before, since 2010, we've seen KISA project making a huge impact to the girls here in Tanzania. And because of that, in 2017, we were able to launch another project, which is solely focusing on younger girls who are more vulnerable in lower secondary school. And these girls are equivalent to you kids who are in grade 7 to 10th. You are grade 7th to 10th. And Binti Shupavu project actually is a it's a course, it's a life skills and leadership skills course that is focusing on topics such as study skills, health issues, and building confidence to these young girls so that they're able to stay in school and finish school. The overall aim of Binti Shupavu is to increase graduation rates for these girls. I know most of you are wondering how are we coping with the COVID-19 pandemic, and I am happy to share with you that we have been able to keep supporting our scholars and their parents through this difficult and challenging time. We have been communicating with our scholars and their parents via phones. We send about 15,000 messages a week to parents and to their scholars, and most of our messages are basing on supporting parents and scholars to get correct information about COVID-19, how they can protect themselves from catching this virus, but also where to get help if they have any symptoms, or they're scared and they just want to get help. On top of that, we have established a toll-free number, which is accessible to most of our scholars, whether they when they have access to phone, whether they have credit or they don't have credit. We are sure now they have they can access our social worker service. And during this time, our scholars are worried about a lot of things. They're worried about when the schools are going to be open. They're worried about, they're scared. Have they catch the coronavirus or not? Do they have correct information or not? So this toll-free number is helping these girls to reach out to our social workers at any time and to be able to get this, the support that they need. But also, we know that our scholars, the first person that they reach out to when they have any problem or they don't know what to do is their mentors. So we have intentionally supported our mentors to be healthy and to keep on supporting their mentees. So all the mentors are now working from home, but they have been supported to be able to communicate with their scholars on a regular basis. And mentors are communicating with their scholars of a range of things, but most of all at this time, encouraging them to keep studying at home, to keep working with their parents, and to make sure that when schools are back on, the girls are going to go back to school. So I would like to thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you so much for your continued support to our scholars. Your support is really making a huge difference here. And if you want to know that, just visit our website and check out our impact report. Thank you so much.
Yes, Devotha, I would like to say because it means so much to us, and because you care and you want to know what's happening to young women in Tanzania. I'm Monica, Managing Director of Operations, and I want to assure you that we are adapting and
Okay, it looks like Monica is having technical issues, but we want to share with you how our year started and what we are expecting to do at this year and what are our plans for the coming, when everything is over, what are our plans. So this year was supposed to be our very big year. We were supposed to keep on mentoring girls in our 40 partner schools here in Kilimanjaro and Arusha. And we are hoping to recruit about 1,400 Binti Shupavu scholars, something that happened in January. And we are hoping to recruit new KISA scholars to reach to 3,000 KISA scholars this year. But during to every thing that has changed in March, we are hoping that when schools are back on, we'll be able to have the scholars that we recruited in January, but also we are hoping that we're going to recruit more KISA scholars, and also we are hoping that we can keep supporting these girls at this time when they need it the most, and eventually help them to come back to school. So thank you so much for keep on supporting us all this time. And thank you so much for being able to join us tonight. And we are hoping that you're going to enjoy the event today, and you're going to be able to support the girls here. Thank you.
Well, Devotha and Monica, just thank you so much for joining us this evening, actually very early morning your time. We just are so proud of you and our entire staff who are on the front lines of information sharing, connecting community members and scholars with important health information, and supporting our scholars and their families through this truly unprecedented time. And it's for these reasons that we didn't cancel our event this evening as we continue to pay staff in Tanzania and run our programs remotely. Here in the US, we're adapting to a new normal as well. Our US staff is of course working from home, and amidst it all, we're still working hard to bring on our next executive director. Stay tuned for an exciting update on that front in the very near future. Next, I'd like to introduce someone very near and dear to the AfricAid family, our honorees of the evening, Curt and Barb Harris. When I was just getting AfricAid started in 2001, one of my first presentations was to the Evergreen Rotary Club. Even as a 16-year-old, I was warmly welcomed by the group, and I quickly realized that we all shared a passion for supporting educational opportunities in Tanzania. After I spoke, this kind group of Rotarians, quote, passed the hat to contribute to AfricAid's work. And that really gave me the encouragement and the confidence that I needed to know that my dream of supporting students in Tanzania was possible. It was at that presentation that I met Curt for the first time, and he's been a role model and avid supporter of AfricAid's mission, programs, and teams, both here in Tanzania ever since that time. In fact, in 2003, Curt, along with founding board member Mark Williams, organized the climb of Kilimanjaro to benefit Selian Hospital in Tanzania and to help AfricAid raise money for scholarships at a secondary school for Maasai girls. This climb was the first truly big fundraising activity that AfricAid had undertaken. And on that climb, Curt was with me every step of the way. And believe me, there were a lot of steps. The climb raised $25,000 for AfricAid, which enabled us to support our first 10 scholarships and brought lots of much needed attention to AfricAid's mission. Since that climb in 2003, Curt has climbed Kilimanjaro several more times. In fact, in 2016, he first had the idea to bring AfricAid staff and alumni up the mountain with him, declaring the climb Kili for Kisa. He's continued this tradition and did a second Kili for Kisa climb in 2018, and he'll do a third climb this October. Every time he climbs, he says, "This is the last time," but we know Curt will continue climbing mountains for a mission for a long time to come. AfricAid has truly been blessed to have so many supporters who believe in the importance of supporting youth leadership and service learning. But Curt has truly dedicated much of his life to this mission. Through Rotary and their Youth Leadership Awards, Curt has made an impact on countless young people, both here and in Tanzania. And as I look back over the last 19 years, I'm just so incredibly thankful for Curt and his partner in life, Barb. Curt is an extraordinary person and leader who encouraged me and my passion and vision, and he's always been there to help me and so many others turn their dreams into reality. Thank you, Curt and Barb, for your unwavering belief in the power of young women to ignite change. Truly, they do because of you. And with that, I'd like to introduce all of you to Curt Harris.
Well, thank you, Ashley, for your kind words. And good evening to all of our friends and guests this evening. Barb and I are excited and humbled that AfricAid has chosen to honor us this evening. I had my first opportunity to visit Tanzania in October of 2000 as part of a fundraising climb of Kilimanjaro on behalf of Selian Hospital near Arusha. As part of that trip, we made a short stop at the Maasai Girls' School near Monduli on our way to Tarangire for safari. If you've ever been to Africa, you know it is sensory overload as you see so many different things. I didn't know what to think of that visit back then, but that soon changed. About 1 year later, I am proud to say that I had a very small part in the very beginnings of AfricAid. After hearing founder Ashley Shuyler make a presentation, my Evergreen Rotary Club contributed a small amount of money that helped provide the seed money to help start AfricAid. I visited Tanzania again in 2003 for another fundraising climb of Kilimanjaro, and I got to visit the Maasai Girls' School with Ashley, Nina, and Rick. This time, I was a little less overwhelmed and I got to really observe my surroundings. I remember Ashley posing for pictures with all the girls AfricAid was sponsoring at the school. These girls were smiling, enthusiastic, and truly thankful for the opportunity to be at the school. I was so impressed that I committed to sponsor a first-year student, Teresia. Barb and I came back for her graduation in 2006, and we have been sponsoring girls at the school ever since. Over the next 10 years, Barb and I continued to support AfricAid, and we watched their focus change from sponsoring girls' tuition to providing needed mentoring and teaching of life and leadership skills to secondary school girls. It was getting to know the girls on our first Kilimanjaro climb in 2016 and hearing their personal stories of triumph over their many challenges that made me even more passionate about AfricAid's mission. Without Kisa, these girls would not have had the confidence to take on the ultimate challenge of climbing Africa's highest mountain. I was so inspired that we did another climb in 2018, and we are planning to do one more this time in October, and we have extra room if you're interested. It is one thing to read inspiring stories of triumph, and it is quite another to hear them from the girls themselves. Most of the girls who graduate from the KISA program have a goal to help others and lift them up as well. We have seen it firsthand, and that is why Barb and I have been longtime supporters of AfricAid. We know what kind of impact the KISA program has on these girls and the positive long-term effects these girls will have on their local communities. Thank you for joining us this evening and supporting AfricAid. Now I have the distinct honor to introduce you all to a dear friend of mine, AfricAid KISA Project Manager Hadija Hassan. Hadija and I first met in 2016. She was one of the first 5 AfricAid women who joined me on that first Kili for KISA climb. Hadija was always smiling and always encouraging her fellow climbers to keep on going. Hadija was supposed to be with us in person, making her first international trip. However, she has adapted to this change and with grace and joins us this evening as she's shaking her hands. Or for her, morning from Tanzania. We hope to get Hadija out here as soon as we can. Until then, we will get to know her and some of her scholars a bit better, and she'll answer some of the questions that were submitted by our audience members this last week. Hadija, welcome.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Curt. I'm so excited to join all of you. Greetings to everyone from Arusha, Tanzania. I'm very happy and delighted to join all of you, and I'm looking forward to sharing about my work experience and life here in Tanzania. I really wish to be there because I longed for this trip for so many years, but I believe everything happens for a reason, and I will get another chance to visit the place. So thank you very much for having me.
Well, Hadija, why don't we begin this conversation with you telling us about you and your team?
Oh, sure. So I joined the AfricAid team in 2014 as a KISA project mentor. And I remember during my first year, I only had 100 scholars that I mentored in 5 partner schools. Back then, we were a small staff, like 6 in total. And in 2016, I got a chance to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And then after the climb, I got promoted to a KISA project manager for the Arusha region. So most of the time I tell myself climbing Kilimanjaro came with a blessing to me. Currently, I supervise the total number of 4 mentors, and we have 573 young secondary school girls that we mentor in 10 partner schools in the Arusha region. We are helping these girls to develop their confidence, resilience, but also their leadership skills. So I'm very grateful to have the team that I have at the moment. and sharing our experience with our girls.
So do you recall your first scholars in 2014?
Oh, yes, I do.
Can you tell us a story about one of them and what she is doing now?
Oh, yeah. I'm very excited and proud when I get a chance to share stories about my mentees. So the story that I'm going to share is of KISA alumni whose name is Halima. She used to be my KISA scholar, and we still have a very strong mentor-mentee relationship until today. So Halima is a very confident, resilient, open-minded, but she is also a daring girl. She graduated, from KISA in 2015 and joined university where she studied bachelor in tax management. So while she was in university, Halima decided that she will use all the skills that she got from KISA classes. And these were the leadership skills and entrepreneurship skills. So Halima dared to run for the vice president position at her college, which is a rare thing to many girls. So many students didn't believe in Halima because they are not used to giving those high positions to women, because they believe the positions are for men as they are much stronger compared to women. So during the campaign, Halima spent a lot of time explaining to her fellow students and trying to persuade them that she has abilities and she is capable of holding the position. Unfortunately, she didn't win the election, but Halima played her cards very well in spreading the news to the college community that even girls can become leaders. So most of the time, I believe it will take very long for the mindset that have been demonstrated by Halima's fellow students to be changed. But the transformation will happen only if we will be having many girls with the daring spirit, just like that of Halima.
You know, I'm sure you're feeling very proud of Halima for setting such a great example for others in her university.
Oh, yes. I'm very proud of Halima because even if she lost the election, but Halima's journey of transforming herself and the community was not an end. And this time, she decided to utilize the entrepreneurship skills that she got from KISA. And she decided to turn her baking skills into business. She used to bake cakes and sell at a very lower price to the friends at the college, but also people around her community. And the money that she got, she used some for her personal needs at the college and saved some amount of money with the idea of expanding the business in future. So in 2018, when she graduated from college, Halima opened a baking class with the aim of helping women and girls around her community gaining skills that will help them to become financially independent. Alima again provided the service at a very low price so that she can touch lives of women and girls of all status within the community. The reason why she decided to do this, as I said earlier, was to empower women economically, because most of them are depending on their husbands to provide for everything within the family. And sometimes their needs are not met on time, but also sometimes the needs are not met completely. So Halima decided to use this chance to help solve conflicts that were happening within the family level, like every now and then, as the result of the challenge I explained before. Last year, Halima provided training to a number of women for free because she realized there are some of women who couldn't afford even that small amount of money she was charging. And in 2019, again, Halima expanded her business and she opened an online shop for selling baking tools, and she supplies the tools to her students, but also fellow bakers who are within Dar es Salaam, which is the biggest city and the business city here in Tanzania, but also to those who live outside Dar es Salaam. The most interesting part about my relationship with Halima is because I am also the one who benefited from Halima. So I say now it's a mentor becoming a mentee. I used to bake for quite some time before, but I advanced my baking skills from Halima classes and also got almost all of my baking tools from Halima's online shop. So I'm very grateful for being Halima's mentor, and I'm also looking forward to Halima achieving a lot of her dreams as she's now getting her master's in revenue law and administration, and she has a dream of opening and owning a bakery. So I am blessed with what Halima is doing, and I'm very grateful for being her mentor. So the story is really exciting, and that's Halima's story. I can talk through Halima for almost a day, but that's what actually Halima is trying to impact within the community.
Well, I really like that story. Your mentee is now your mentor. Amazing how that turns around. Other than Summit Day can be cold and painful, what did you learn from your Kilimanjaro climb in 2016, and how did KISA lessons prepare you for that journey?
Okay, so climbing Kilimanjaro really gave me a lot of lessons that I even use today in my day-to-day activities. The biggest lesson that I learned was to be resilient, to be focused, determined, but also not to lose hope if I want to achieve anything. But another thing that I learned, if you have a goal, if you want to achieve anything, you need to have people around you who supports and encourage you. And for me, I can admit that I had a very strong team that supported me, and this team was led by Mr. Curt. So most of the time I tell myself it's because of the team that I had a very positive results of my climb. So my favorite lesson in KISA is goal setting. And I used this lesson effectively when I was preparing for the climb. I had a goal, and I had to set some strategies that I will be using in order to achieve the goal. One among the strategies that I would like to share with you was to seek information and advice from people who have climbed Kilimanjaro before. I remember to use some of the tricks when I was climbing Kilimanjaro, like walking very slowly, but also not talking while walking, and drinking a lot of water, of which these are the tricks that I got from experienced people, including Mr. Curt. So most of the time, I tell myself, climbing Kilimanjaro, the whole experience, I can relate it to mentoring that AfricAid does. whenever you have someone beside you who has time to listen to you, who believes in you, supports you, and encourage you, it's obvious that you are going to achieve whatever you have in mind and anything that you desire.
Absolutely. So what advice would you give to someone who was thinking about climbing Kilimanjaro?
Oh yeah, so climbing Kilimanjaro is fun, but also easy. So there you need to be a little bit optimistic. So when you climb Kilimanjaro, it helps you to learn that act of being resilient, but also you feel proud. You feel proud sharing the whole experience with other people because it's something that is not being done by many people, as most of them are fearing of trying that experience. So if you have that an idea, you're just thinking of climbing Kilimanjaro, just consider yourself as a most resilient person, but also a hero. And you are going to achieve it, trust me. So I would like to encourage many girls and women in my community, whenever they get this chance, they should try the experience, because here, this has been labeled as male thing, but them trying, they will help to change that mindset and bring about equality, and even inspire other women and girls to try that and learn different experiences and lessons in life during the whole or entire experience.
Yes, you're right. Resilience is the key. I remember on the mountain, you were very unique on that mountain. There were not a lot of Tanzanian women joining us on the mountain at that time. And now we are in the midst of another challenging uphill battle with COVID-19 with an unknown end. Can you share how you are handling this personally?
Oh, first and foremost, I would like to thank the AfricAid senior management for being very considerate to all the staff. Currently, I am working from home, and this has helped to reduce a lot of my movements that could have led me to like being in contact with people and increased chances of getting the disease. But even with the few movements that I have, for example, when I'm going to the market, I make sure that I follow all the instructions and precautions, as in having my hand sanitizer with me, but also washing my hands before entering any building. And the good thing, there are good systems that supports people to wash their hands like every now and then. Apart from that, I have been reading and watching news a lot just to update myself about what is happening around the world, but also supporting my mentors, also to help our scholars to stay safe, them, but also their families. So that's what I'm currently doing, as in handling the situation.
And how are your scholars handling the uncertainty?
With these scholars, I can say in mid-May, when the government announced the closure of schools, our scholars had mixed feelings. So most of them were psychologically affected because, especially the ones who were in their final year of secondary education, and they were looking forward to sit for the final exams in May. So some were also looking forward to their graduation few days before the closure of schools. So they were well prepared. They even made beautiful dresses, but sadly they couldn't even wear the dresses, and they were just remaining locked in their rooms crying while looking at those dresses. But following the school closure, the mentors started to communicate with scholars just immediately, trying to encourage them and also counsel them because of the psychological effect. And we are happy that the girls were optimistic. They became very positive, and right now they are adhering to all the precautions and following the measures to keep themselves safe, but also the family safe. So I would like to share a story of one of our KISA scholar whose name is Margaret. So Margaret lives with her disabled mom and 2 siblings. So having a fear and being afraid of her mother, Margaret had no any other option rather than taking a lead into helping the family, preventing themselves from COVID-19. So every morning, Margaret will wake up and make sure that she puts water and soap outside the house for the visitors, but also for her siblings to wash hands. But also she will be checking with her siblings like every now and then to make sure they are following up with the precautions. Margaret also decided to take over all her mom activities, especially collecting the weaving materials so that her mom will just stay inside and weaving the seat covers, but also the rugs. While doing all this, Margaret is making sure that she's following all the precautions so that she will also remain safe. The good thing, Margaret has been in contact with her mentor like every day and sharing with her about the fears that she has in studies, but also with the disease. So fortunate, Margaret has a smartphone. So her mentor has been sharing with her sites where she can find study materials, but also updates about the disease that she can also share with her family. So that's how basically our scholars are kind of trying to handle the situation here.
Well, I'm glad to hear that mentors are able to support their scholars during this time. And the scholars are finding ways to lead in their communities and their families. Do you have a couple of examples on some of the changes that some of your mentees have had in their communities when not under quarantine?
Oh, yes, I have some few examples because this year, our KISA scholars who were in their final year, they implemented number of projects to bring about changes in the community. And this project varies from those of environmental, social, political, and economic issues. So one group of the girls decided that they want to put tinted windows at the girls' dormitory in their school because the windows were very clear to the extent that everyone who passed outside the dormitory could see what is going on inside. So the girls decided that they want to solve that challenge, but also they want to spread news about KISA and the work of KISA because they are the first graduates, the first KISA graduates within that school. So it was kind of a way of also strengthening relationship between school administration and KISA. So the girls decided that they will use all the skills that they got from KISA and set an appointment with the head of school to explain about their idea. And luckily the head of school accepted for the girls to conduct the project. But the girls did not stop there. They even persuaded the head of school to contribute to the project. And yes, the head of school even gave them some money to do what they wanted to do. So you can see how persuasive these girls were. Yeah, so another project was of the girls who visited the orphanage center with the aim of teaching the kids and the whole administration there the importance of conserving the environment. So as they were walking in the center, they found tires outside, and those were considered as rubbish to everyone there. But they decided to turn the rubbish into decoration and painted the tires, but also planted trees around the center. So the kids were very grateful, but also the administration at the orphanage were very grateful and promised to use the knowledge that they got, especially the recycling knowledge, in their day-to-day life. Whenever they have something needs to be recycled, they promised to do that. So our girls were very grateful, but we were also grateful as their mentors, seeing they are making positive changes in the community.
I love hearing how scholars are impacting the long-lasting change for the future. And now we have come to our last question of the evening. Tell us, what excites you about AfricAid's future?
Well, when it's time to talk about AfricAid, I sometimes become very emotional because I love the KISA project very much, as it has long and strong 10 years of making an incredible impact to young girls here in Tanzania. And I can prove that with just a simple example. Currently, when you visit our offices, almost all of our staff were once KISA scholars, but also KISA graduates are really making a great and huge impact within their communities across Tanzania. So I'm proud being part of this, but also I'm excited. I'm very excited about the AfricAid future, especially seeing how Binti Shupavu project will reach many girls, making these girls understand that they are courageous daughters, which means Binti Shupavu in Kiswahili. Making them understand that they can make decisions for their future, but also giving them skills that will not only help them in their studies, but also in their families when they go back home. So just looking at these girls raising their voices for themselves, but also speaking for other girls and acting as examples to the one who didn't had a chance to join the project makes me more excited and wants me to keep remaining at AfricAid and to see what is happening, because Binti Shupavu shows that it has potentials and will bring like huge impact to almost every girl here in Tanzania. I recall back then when we were starting Binti Shupavu project, we all dreamt of having the project being adopted by the government. And currently, we can see our Binti Shupavu scholars are doing great. And most of them are even passing on to next grade. And the most interesting part, 98% of these girls are graduating Form 4, compared to the Form 4 graduation rate within the country, which is just 69%. So you can just see how things are. And maybe, who knows, the government will come to a point where they see a need of implementing this project throughout the country. So I am really excited, and I believe this is possible. The fact that I have a team that is strong, determined, and we do share a vision, it's obvious that what we are dreaming of and what we are excited of is going to be achieved. So I'm very, very excited for that.
Well, thank you, Hadija, for sharing these interesting and enlightening stories. I am sorry you weren't able to be here in person. But I do look forward to seeing you when you finally do make it out here to Denver sometime, hopefully later this year. And I'm sure I will see you when I'm in Tanzania in October, and I hope maybe you'll bake me something.
Oh, yes, definitely. Thank you very much, Mr. Curt, and thank you everyone for taking your time to listen to me and also having me. Thank you very much for your ongoing support, and I believe we will keep helping each other just to make sure that the girls are becoming change makers and they are also becoming resilient. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Hadija. Ashley.
Wow. Thank you, Curt. Thank you, Hadija. I'm just so glad that both of you were able to join us this evening and share such inspiring stories and insight into the amazing work that you are making possible in Tanzania. And if any of you listening have been inspired to climb Kilimanjaro with Curt and some of our mentors and alumni this October, please do let us know and we'll be happy to put you in touch. Curt still has a few spots left on the trip. Now, I'd like to pass it over to Rahim, who is our volunteer auctioneer who did an amazing job at Art and Soul last year and who will add virtual auctioneer to his resume tonight. Born in East Africa, Rahim is dedicated to supporting all Tanzanian girls to reach their full potential as confident and educated leaders who ignite change. He'll be inviting all of you to join him in making a difference by leading our live giving drive. So Rahim, will you kick us off? What an incredible night. I couldn't be more grateful to all of you online with us tonight for your generosity. I am thrilled to see that we've come together and raised almost $43,000. And again, just so grateful that each of you took the time and made the choice to be here with us this evening and to help us raise critical funds for young women in Tanzania. It means the world to me, but far more importantly, it changes the world of scholars like Halima and Margaret, as Hadija mentioned tonight. I'd like to say a quick final word of thanks to AfricAid's board of directors and AfricAid's small but hardworking US staff and volunteers, Julia, Salima, Lizzie, Emily, Katie, Alicia, Jill, Hannah, Lily, Sarah, and Abby. And to our event committee, Tina, Teresa, Claire, and Jill. Thank you for all of your tireless work and for adapting so quickly to make Art and Soul virtual a success. We can't wait until we can all meet in person again. So again, many, many thanks to each of you who joined us tonight, and good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.